love it. I'm there for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here.
Me too. And I want to begin our conversation before we get into your life as a coach and an entrepreneur. I want to know, we look at the calendar, it's the 4-year anniversary of this pandemic. How did you survive it? And how did that time period change you?
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, look at that. It has been 4 years.
Yeah.
So I remember it was March 11th, 2020, the day that they declared it a national emergency and they were shutting down everything. And I had just actually flown in to St. Louis and I was sitting in a workshop with 400 of some of the country's most brilliant business minds, entrepreneurs, real estate moguls. And here I am. I remember I was sitting in the first row and I was scrolling my phone. And as I scrolled Facebook, I just saw all of the chaos and the fear and videos of all of of people going through the grocery stores and there's no food on the shelves. And then I'm in this conference where these business minds are standing on stage and they're just saying, okay, we're experiencing a change, a shift in the economy. So that means that we're going to have to get creative and start thinking about how we can serve people, how we can step up, and how we can pivot and see this as an opportunity. How can we grow and how can we serve? And I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And it's a totally different shift in mindset and perspective. So I think just being very intentional about always surrounding myself with big thinkers is probably one of like the fast track keys to success. So what I did is I grew up in Michigan and I have been passionate about horses my entire life. So I begged my dad for a horse my whole life. He said no. I had to take matters into my own hands essentially. And now I own a horse in every breed and every color, and I've sold horses around the country. I just last week I sold the horse to Canada. So yeah, and then I went on to open up this. I accidentally opened up one of Michigan's largest public trail riding companies just because trail riding is one of my favorite things to do,
Yeah.
and I wanted to share it with the world. And it just so happened that word of mouth spread and it continued to get bigger and bigger. Well, when 2020 happened, and all of a sudden I'm like, here I am selling high dollar luxury items, horses, and offering trail rides. Like, what am I going to do if the economy shuts down?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I remember vividly standing in front of the mirror and being like, I am unstoppable. And I just said it like 3 or 4 times. And I said it in such a way that I felt it. Every cell in my body just felt like I am unstoppable. And I'm not going to let the outside circumstances that are happening right now control my inner state and allow me to stop creating and stop succeeding. And so sure enough, the just with that mindset, I went out and I got a couple yard signs that said horseback riding with my phone number. I put them out on the exits. And just like that, I mean, 2020 was the year that my business grew like, I mean, tenfold. I ended up having to hire 10 employees for the first time that year because while everybody was stuck at home and trapped and they couldn't go out, they wanted to get outside and they weren't at work and they were trapped. So they're like, let's go have fun and ride horses in the woods. And I was there to accommodate.
That's awesome. That is really amazing. And I always hear from entrepreneurs that the bottom line to succeeding is almost fixing a problem. But for
Absolutely.
you, it's a little bit like you just grabbed a dream that you always had. You always wanted a
Yes.
horse. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing more to it. There was no financial anything other than affording a horse probably in the beginning. But once that happened, it was just you're just mired in a dream, and no matter what happens, you wouldn't probably change anything because you want to be around the horses.
1,000%. I wake up every day and I'm like, wow, I'm so blessed to be living the life that I am. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day and it was like, find what your talent is and exploit it in the service of others.
Yeah.
And when you do that, when you find your talent or your passion, you're able to serve others at an extremely high level, you're going to find success. And so for me, that was like me begging my dad for a horse, him always telling me no. So the day I turned 16 was the day I created my Craigslist ad and I got my driver's license. And my Craigslist ad said, I will ride your horse for free. So then I had all of these yahoos calling me from all over the town with their unbroke horses or horses that hadn't been ridden or touched in 5 to 10 years. And I was the solution to their problem because they're like, oh, well, this girl's brave and she's willing to put the time and work into training my horse. So, and for me, I was just happy to get out there. It didn't matter how many times I got thrown off or bucked off or flipped over on. I mean, I was just so grateful to be sitting on the back of a horse.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't have any education or proper instruction, the horses ended up teaching me everything that I know today.
Yeah.
So it's all about knowing what you want, having that burning desire and getting obsessed with your passion and then figuring out how you can serve others. And there's always going to be a need that's you're able to fulfill in the market.
So on paper, you're a peak performance coach and spiritual entrepreneur. But if I put you in front of a bunch of third graders at career day and one of the kids says, hey, what do you do for a living? How do you answer that child?
Ooh, I guess I feel like I have like two callings. I have like the horse background, so I could say I sell horses. I buy, train, and sell horses. And then the other side to that would be um, I help people transform their lives, or I help people achieve their goals.
Yeah, no, that's great. And they would totally get that. So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
Um, I always I always wanted to be an equine vet.
Okay.
So a vet that works with horses only because I loved horses and I didn't really know of any other profession that I could work with horses and make money. It wasn't until I found out that the equine vets have to go to school for just as long as a doctor and make only a fraction of the amount that I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like a good idea anymore.
Yeah, right, right. So how did all of this become you? What were the seeds in your childhood in Michigan that were planted into you to become an entrepreneur and to become someone that people rely on to get coached to find their dream?
I would say how the entrepreneurial journey began with me is pretty much with that Craigslist ad. And then I ended up meeting a horse dealer in Michigan who would get like 50 horses in a week. And I had to ride every one of those horses and find out which ones were trainable and which ones I'd be able to sell because if I didn't sell those horses, they were getting shipped off to Canada. And at that point I was on a mission to save all the horses of the world. So I had to like ride and train and sell as many as I could as fast as I could. So that was kind of what like kick-started my journey of the sky's the limit. You put in the work and you're gonna reap the profits. I feel like I've always kind of had that like go-getter, determined personality just built into me. And then after I graduated college, I got scooped up into the corporate world. And for a long time, I was like, oh, yeah, no, like the corporate sounds great until I got like the world's worst boss, like the most miserable, negative personality you could ever imagine to be around. And here I am, like radiating positivity. And he's probably just annoyed with me about how positive and optimistic I am, as I was uncomfortable with all of his negativity. So I ended up leaving the corporate world to pursue horses full time. And that was really scary, but it was a leap of faith. And it's something that there has not been one day that I've regretted my decision in doing that.
So who's been a hero for you in your life?
Who's been a hero? I feel like Dr. Wayne Dyer is one of those people that shaped who I am at a very young age. I really leaned into his work, fell in love with his books. When I was working in corporate, I was doing Excel spreadsheets from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night. And I remember like listening to the headphones and I was just take hours and hours. I was just taking notes. And him and Abraham Hicks were attending the Abraham Hicks workshop and learning the importance of meditation and how that just leveled up my life professionally and personally. I'm a huge advocate of meditation as well.
So, what's the motivation for you every day to wake up, to do the job that you do, to help others, and to also evolve as a person?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like one of my big things, I recently just attended the Tony Robbins event. It's called Date with Destiny, and that was absolutely incredible. There were so many breakthroughs. It was such an immersive experience. I walked out of that being like, the whole game is just to live and love selflessly. How can we give back? How can we be of service? And that's really what has been a huge catalyst in this podcasting journey, is because I want to serve and I want to give back and I want to empower people to truly understand that we live in a vibrational universe and you are the powerful, magnificent creator of your own reality. You can be to have anything that you can dream of if you believe in yourself. A lot of times we are these conditioned human beings, whether it was our past or our parents or whatever trauma that we've experienced or lived through, that have conditioned our subconscious mind. And the once you learn the different tools, tips, tricks, techniques, that I do a 16-week program that allows people to essentially transform their identity and rewire their subconscious minds. It really sets them up for success mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually.
So, you give out good advice as a coach. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
The best advice I have ever gotten is definitely to dream big. And I remember I was at a workshop at the end of December, and it was very like, are you familiar with Abraham Hicks
Yeah,
and their work? Okay,
yeah.
cool. It was a lady who did work very similar to Esther Hicks, and she was it sounds woo-woo, so just hear me out.
Sure.
Um, but she was essentially like channeling, if you will, um, infinite intelligence or all that is. And essentially what they had said was, beloved human beings, we love you so much. But the problem is that you don't dream big enough. You don't set your intentions high enough. Ask and you shall receive. And I remember that year, that was my third year investing in real estate. So in 2015, I bought my first house. 2016, I bought my second house. And so, like, each year, I was investing my profit that I had made from the horses, and I was investing it into real estate, into these buy and hold properties that I was renting out. And so that year I had wrote, like, it was like I said, the end of December, and I was writing out my New Year's resolution, or essentially like what I wanted to create for the next year. And I had wrote purchase another rental property. Well, instead, after I heard that, I like scratched that out and I wrote purchased 3 more rental properties, and I didn't know how I was gonna be able to do that. I had no idea because I certainly didn't have, like, the money in the bank to purchase 3 properties. I didn't even have the money to purchase the first one yet, and it was just the simple act of dreaming big. The power of journaling is insane. Highly recommend, because I call it the magic of the pen. Whatever you dream of, whatever you believe, whatever you write down, it can and it will come to fruition.
Yeah.
And so it was just a matter of writing this down. And then I remember that year in August, I was like, okay, it's August and I still haven't purchased one house. How am I going to do this? And sure enough, as divine timing would have it, I was part of a real estate investing group, Michigan Real Estate Investors, and I had sat in on a gentleman speaking. We connected, he sold houses, and over the next 3 months, he sold me 3 different houses.
Very
So
cool.
it all worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of all of these things that we've kind of touched on and everything you've lived through and evolved and overcome, what are you the proudest of?
I feel like I feel like the proudest moment for me was probably quitting my corporate job, just because that was something. It was like, it was really, it was this. cozy, comfy corporate job where I had all of the benefits. And I feel like a lot of people like so my parents are blue collar workers. My mom worked in a factory, and my dad's like, Lucy, people have worked their entire lives to have the position that you have and to have a full salaries with benefits. He's like, you've got it made in this beautiful corporate office. Like, why would you ever give that up? Like, what's wrong with you? And so obviously my dad was not in favor of me quitting my corporate job at all. But I had this like burning desire inside of me. And my mom, she was helping me with the horses at the time, like videoing the sale horses. And I remember it was December and I just sold 6 horses. And I'm like, Mom, I just sold 6 horses. I made twice as much money selling horses in wintertime than I did at my job. I'm like, I can do this. I know I can. And she was just like, sweetheart, I love you. And as your mom, I can't tell you to quit your corporate job that's giving you security and benefits to go off on a whim and pursue a dream. But I love you. And as your mom, I can't tell you not to pursue your dream. So she's like, I'm going to leave it up to you. But she's like, but don't tell your dad I said that. So,
Very nice.
uh, yeah.
Well, now he knows. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am? I think that I am, I think I'm fiercely independent. I think I'm a powerful creator. I think that I truly know that I can be to have anything that I dream of. Everything that I touch usually works out. I believe that I'm blessed and highly favored. And I believe that I'm a change agent and a force for good. So that's fundamentally who I believe I am.
Well said. So if anyone wants to hire you, reach out, learn more about you, anything about your world, what's the good business?
Where they can find me?
Yeah.
So my website's lucielynn.com, or the social networks are Facebook. They can find me at facebook.com/Lucy's Bubble or Instagram.com/Coach Lucie Lynn. We do have a special page. It's called the ultimate success blueprint.com, where we do like a 16-week training, but we've condensed it into a 2-hour training. And for your listeners, we do have a special link that is like the slash neon jazz at the end. So if they want to access this free training, they can check that out and download the free training, which is all about how to reprogram your subconscious mind for success.
Beautiful. Lucy, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your story and your passion. Best of luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I had so much fun speaking with
You
you.
too. Thank you. I appreciate it.